Hi, this is Krista Grace. Thank you for being curious and coming to this channel. I will be channeling the Pleiadian High Council, and I just want to thank everyone for subscribing and for liking and sharing the videos. Helps get the messages out, and thank you so much for helping out and for joining in. All right, and for those of you just checking it out, I hope this resonates with your heart, and that you're coming here in great love and curiosity. And with that, we'll begin with the Tibetan Bowl, tuning in, and the Tingshas. Very good, very good. Yes, yes, yes. We are the Pleiadian High Council. Yes, 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 yes. We are so pleased to connect with all of you. Yes, 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 yes. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. So, it has been quite the journey here for you. Things have gotten flipped upside down, right side up, side to side. I don't know really what's going on. Yes, everything's getting rattled around a little bit, shaken up, stirred up. Yeah, I couldn't have really anticipated this coming, could you have? Oh, yeah. Wow. It's a big one, isn't it? It's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Oh, yes. And what's getting shaken up the most is the old belief structures. Those old structures and old doctrines that simply don't have humanity's best interest at heart. Yes, it's simply what it is, and it includes old belief systems within each and every soul there on your world. Yes, any sort of fear-based beliefs, any root chakra beliefs around security, scarcity, any sort of fear in those realms that can create codependencies. Yes, where you're codependent to a system of medicine that only continues to amplify the suffering. Yes, because it takes you away from your feeling body. It takes you away from feeling your emotions. It takes you away from knowing yourself as a creator being, and it simply supports those in believing that they are sick, believing that they have no power over their health, believing that they're simply a victim to whatever they have fallen into or have caught somehow. Yes, your fears do bring on the things you are afraid of quicker, yes, because you're simply meant to move through them and see that the greatest thing of all that you fear is the fear itself. Yes, and what happens if you do get sick? Yes, what happens if you lose somebody? What happens if you lose your job? What happens if your world gets flipped upside down? well, you still have yourself, right? Yourself, yes, yourself that is you beyond this physical form, yourself that existed before you came here to this earth plane in a physical vessel. Yes, you will always have yourself, and you will continue to live on and having great experiences, and this is one experience in many realms of experience that you are simultaneously having. Yes. But you've been taught that some structure, some religious beliefs teach you that this is your, this is your life, and if you do not obey the rules, you might go to the fiery pits of hell, and if you do well, then you go to heaven. Well, it's just not like that. It's really not like that. Yeah, so we are encouraging you to start to value your day, and each and every day that you are there is a gift. It's a gift to be on earth, and it is it's simply a waste of your time there to live your days in fear. Yes, it's simply a waste of time. Yes, but of course we're gonna plug in the we'll leave the mic out. How about we do that? Krista just realized that the mic wasn't plugged in, but this is fine. This is fine. Okay, so right, let's just tune back in here. Good. Yeah, so your lives are of great value. Your lives are of great import. By import, we mean you are here for love. You are here to bring the love that you are through. You are here to follow your passions, follow your heart's desires, follow your bliss, follow your joy. You are here to step in peace. You are here to be the change makers. You're here to offer peace where there is hate. Yes, you're here to offer love where there is war. Yes, you are here to simply not continue ways that many have been continuing on for a very long time. Yes, karma, indeed. Yes, and karma is it's simply lessons that come up over and over again, where there is misbelief, where one is out of alignment with love, and where one's beliefs are not in alignment with love, and many souls come back into this earth plane to learn certain lessons, shall we say. You see this getting played out in many ways on your world, where there are perpetrators and victims. You can all look at your own lives and perhaps relate to one of those sides or the others. Many could say that they have bullied people in their lives, and they've also been bullied. Yes, I could say some people have abused their positions of authority, while others have had to go to work where they were emotionally abused by their employer, shall we say. Yes, they're the ones who are paying them. They can easily take their job away, and they can also treat them poorly. Well, that's simply not all right, but you have to know that you deserve better in your life, and you need to question your own belief systems. If you are truly in a job that you really do not like, you must ask yourself why, and what are your fears for leaving. And you see, there's great strength in moving through the fears, and there's great strength in being present with your feelings. And simply many people feel bad about how they feel, but really your feelings are guiding you. Your emotional guidance system is guiding you, and when it's not in the vibration with love, you don't feel good. Yes, so many people have gotten used to toxic atmospheres for themselves. Yes, there's many who are in abusive relationships relationships that are emotionally abusive or sexually abusive, or where their children are not in loving homes, yes, and they simply grow numb or grow used to it or afraid for leaving because they don't know how they'll support themselves, or stay in relationships for your children, but really your children are actually suffering greatly when you stay together in abusive relationships, or where there is no love in the home. Yes, that's not it's much better for two to part than make themselves miserable. Yes. Yes, and same with work. It's much better to walk away than make yourself miserable. You must believe that there's something better for you, because there is, and you must begin to follow your guidance system that is guiding you. It's guiding you every minute of every day, every second, every moment. Your guidance system is speaking to you. You must start to value it. You simply become more in tune with yourself and in your heart. Yes. Our dear soul Krista steps out into nature very often, and she'll go off on her own into nature, and she gets very familiar with her own vibration and how that feels. Yes, and so she's very clear about how she feels vibrationally, and then when there gets to be more people, if she's in atmospheres where there's more energies around, she can clearly feel when something's off, where energy gets sticky, or if there's alcoholism around, she can really feel that. If there's drug use around, she can really feel that. If there's a lot of negativity, if there's a lot of judgment, if there's a lot of gossip, it's simply a very low vibration, and she simply does not gravitate towards these people or these sorts of situations that sort of thrive off of gossip or thrive off of negativity. No, she certainly likes to keep her space clear, her energetic space clear, the atmosphere, the people she surrounds herself with, that they have integrity and love, and that they do not gossip about others. Yes, they have compassion and they have consideration, and they look at the bigger picture of all things, and they see, oh, truly, we are all in this together. And yes, there are those who are suffering greatly, and yes, some might be struggling in certain ways, but you all struggle in certain ways, so you must have compassion and see that truly where you judge another is where you're really you really gotta take a look at yourself there when you go and you judge another. Yes, no one can judge another man's path. Yes, that's what Krista's father said. He said, how God didn't put me here in anyone else's shoes. So how can I judge another man's path? I cannot. I simply cannot. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing that Krista's father shared with her. Yes. Well, she had an abortion. Her father is Catholic. Yes. So we're going into a sensitive subject here for her, but she knows she's meant to share. Yes, she knows that it will resonate, and so we are simply going in and sharing the things that are difficult to share. Yes, that's what we're here to do. We're here to do that. So her father is Catholic. She got engaged with someone and then found out she was pregnant, and then everything in her heart. Your heart amplifies so much when a woman is pregnant. Their heart, if there's something that does not feel loving for them, it simply amplifies, like 10,000-fold, shall we say. It amplifies. Yeah, so Krista missed dearly her soulmate Eli, and so she just wanted to be with Eli, but she simply was in this relationship that was it was not good for her, and she needed to get out of it. Yes, she needed to get out of that one fast. So she had no money. She had to get Greyhound from Edmonton to Calgary. She had $7. She had no work. She got herself in a codependent relationship where she left the island, and she left her work, which actually wasn't a great job after all, because that work was very emotionally abusive, very malicious head chef. Oh yes, you find many restaurants with the head chefs, with the cooks who have awful tempers. They're awful to be around. Krista's a very sensitive being, so she simply left that job. As many of you, if you followed the story, she's been in the service industry for a long time, 15 years. In 2012, when the Mayan calendar shifted, her sensitivities increased, and her empathic, all that kind of stuff, everything increased, and she simply couldn't take it anymore. She simply couldn't handle that industry. It was just didn't feel right to her. So anyway, so she left that job and she got engaged with this person who's say quite toxic for her to be around. Of course, you know, there is great love in his heart, bless his dear soul, but not good for Krista to be in a relationship with this person. So she went right in. She found out she was pregnant, and she simply couldn't be with him. And so this was a very difficult winter, and she did decide to have an abortion. And this goes into other stories with her. She has a daughter already, and the first time she sank into a deep depression and had a nervous breakdown. She was very suicidal. There's a message earlier from the Syrian collective that she channeled, and they go into a bit of that story. But Krista wasn't able to take care of her daughter anymore, her daughter Lola, and so she had to go live with her father. And this was a very difficult time for Krista. So you see, it was that time in her life again where everything was falling apart on her, and she simply couldn't go through with it. She simply just felt she couldn't go through with it. And her friend Tina Louise Spalding gave her a book that she wrote, which is a Love in the Unaltered Map to the Soul, and it went into the subject of abortion. Yes, there's channeling Mary Magdalene in the book, and Ananda, and great beings of love and service. And Krista, the book couldn't have come at a better time, because Krista simply knew that the consciousness would live on. Yes, she wasn't killing the consciousness. It was going to live on. And this is a great misperception for many young women and in churches. They teach that you're taking a life, that it's a very heavy subject. It rests heavy on her heart a little bit. But what we'll say is that when she told her father that she did have to go through with it, he simply couldn't go with her. So she went she went with a friend, a dear friend. And that's when her father said that. That's when we're coming to the story. He said, you know, God didn't put me here in anyone else's shoes. So I cannot judge another man's path. He said that to her. And he has a very big heart. He is a very devout Catholic, but he simply loves Krista, and he just wants to see her do well. And yes, this did sadden his heart, but you see, Krista has free will, just as any woman who chooses that, who has that choice to make. And Krista simply had a lot of still unhealed trauma from grieving, losing her daughter in a way. Yes, she still has her daughter. Her daughter lives with her father, and it was ultimately the best choice for Lola to go live with her father. And she has another mother as well, and she has a little brother now. And so Lola has a very good life, and everything is good, but Krista simply was not able to take care of her because she couldn't take care of herself. And so she knew at that time, if she were to bring a baby into the world, she might go through another huge depression. She had postpartum depression with Lola, and she never talked about it. She was very alone. It was a very heavy time for her. It's a very lonely time, being so young and being a mother. And Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot in Krista's story. But when she went to have the abortion, she was praying. She was praying. She was praying to Mary. She was praying to Mary and Yeshua. Yes, Jesus, Mary, and Yeshua. Very much so. As it was happening, she was just praying and crying. And when it happened, she had peace wash over her. Yes, this great peace, as if the consciousness, the being that was leaving, was saying, it's okay. Everything's okay. And it was a nod. It was saying, it's okay. All is well. All is well. All is well. Okay? So we are again sharing these stories. Yes, they're very personal stories. Yes, but Krista knows there's many people who are very alone in their experience, and these things are simply not talked about very much. And all she can do is share her stories and hopes that it might help someone find some peace in their lives. Yes, around addiction, around depression, and the subject of abortion. Yes, so the consciousness lives on, and Krista did have more processing to do. It came later, and she had a big, you see, it comes in waves, and you see time, it's like spirals. Yes, so it goes around in spirals. You're healing, and it's like an onion and all that. So you will feel like you moved through something, and then you keep going on with life. And she had great heartache to move through, as the person that she was very much in love with was with someone else, and she took her a long time to let this person go and to find a love within her own heart. Yes. And then when she got to the place vibrationally where it was ready for her to look back at the experience she had with the abortion, she processed more of it, and she cried a whole bunch. She had great healing, great connection again to that being, that consciousness who was coming through strongly for her, and letting her know that it's all well. It's all well. All right. And so, and it truly is. Yeah. Yeah. There's many women who have suffered greatly over making this choice or having to go through with that, yeah, and then carry on with life. It's simply not an easy choice to make. Either way, whatever way you go. See, when Krista had Lola, or when she found out she was pregnant with Lola, I should get a blower nose. When she found out she was pregnant with Lola, she was only 18 years old, and she was in a very unloving relationship. She had a very, very, very low confidence. She had no idea she was pregnant, even though looking back in hindsight, she can see the signs. But she was on a birth control. It was a shot. You get a shot, yes, and she lost her period, didn't have it at all. And she simply thought that it was still in effect. But she was actually pregnant. And so she didn't know until she was almost 6 months in. Yes? Wow. That's a big one, yeah? Oh, that's a big one, yes. Okay. So almost 6 months in, 18 years old, and He goes, she starts to feel like she has to pee a bit more, and her tummy's getting a little bit bigger, but she's drinking a little bit, not much, but she's like, oh, maybe I'm getting a beer gut like my dad's family or something. My father's family, they tend to get bigger bellies on the side, and she's like, maybe that's going on. And then told her friend about that, and her friend was like, oh my god, did you think that maybe you're pregnant? And Krista it just didn't cross her mind. It just didn't cross her mind. She was very young, and that's just not on her mind at all. Not on her mind at all. You see, again, she was on the Depo-Provera shot. She lost her period. That is now illegal in Canada. That form of birth control is illegal, and for good reasons, yes? Yes. So Krista's had some hard knocks. Oh, yeah, she's had some hard knocks in life. It has not been easy. Oh, boy. And so then Krista waited a little bit, and she told her mom. It was very unsettling for her, and she told her mom, she said, Mom, I have to pee a little bit more, have a little bit of a belly. And Krista's mom was like, oh my god, Krista, you're probably pregnant, go to the clinic. And Krista went to the clinic. She was all by herself, goes to the clinic. Yes, goes to the clinic. Okay, she gets checked there, and he said, well, you're probably about 4 months along. So not only does she find out that she is pregnant, she also finds out that she's about 4 months along. So she's in a bit of a state of shock. It's like one of those really strange dreams. We can say, if any of you have seen the movie Kids, perhaps it's very, it's a heavy movie, but the young woman in the movie finds out that she has AIDS, okay? So we're relating this because in the movie, it's like she's in a state of shock. She's walking out in her day, and it's in a moment, her whole life changes. When she finds this out, her whole life changes. She walks out on the street, and she is in a complete daze, and it's absolute shock. So that's what we can relate this to, is how Krista felt. And she had to walk to the hospital about maybe 15 blocks away. It was a sunny day, and she had to drink a big jug of water, a big 4-liter jug of water, to go get an ultrasound. Yeah, so she's walking to the hospital in a complete daze to go get this ultrasound. She's waiting there for several hours. And then she goes for the ultrasound, and the whole time she's thinking, well, I'm having an abortion. And then she gets the ultrasound, and my god, there's a baby in her belly. There's a whole baby in there. Wow. Yes. And she just bursts into tears. Yeah, so her day probably started about 10. And then she's waiting in the waiting room for about maybe 4 or 5 hours to go see another doctor. There's many doctors. It takes a long time there. She's all by herself. She doesn't have anyone with her. Yes, and then she gets, after 4 or 5 hours passes, it's about 9 o'clock at night now. Yes, this is a big day. Yes, there's no support, no emotional support. And she goes into the doctor's office, and he sits her down, and he says, oh, okay, Krista, so we're going to talk about your plan A and your plan B. She says, okay. He says, so what's your plan A? And she's like, well, I'm getting an abortion. And the doctor says, well, there's no doctors in Canada that will give an abortion this far along. And there's about 3 doctors in the United States that will do it for $10,000. And Krista screamed bloody murder. She screamed and just bawled her eyes out. She just totally lost it. Yeah, it was like a nightmare for her. She's in complete shock. It was completely shocking. Her whole life just got totally flipped in a day. In a day. She is bringing a baby into the world. And she's 18. Everything changed. Everything changed. Wow. And then she got to talk to one of her friends, the one she told about how she had her first friend she talked to that said, oh, did you ever think you might be pregnant? She did talk to her on the phone, and Krista went back to her father's house. We're not sure. Yeah, so she was crying. She's like, well, I'm going to adopt the baby. I'm going to adopt the baby, and for long, let's just say things change. This is a big story for us to be going into, and it's late right now. And she's like, well, how much of this story are we going to tell? Because it's it can keep going on and on. But you see, Krista, initially at first thought that she would adopt. She simply was not ready to have a baby, yes. But in the end, we won't go through the whole story, but in the end, she was in White Rock in the city. She would have had about 9 doctors. What? 9 doctors at a hospital. Oh, she moved back to Salt Spring. She was not seeing the child's father anymore. It simply was not a good relationship. She stopped seeing him, and then she moved in with her best friend, and they ended up being together, and they always had love for each other anyways. So, and she lived with him and his mom. Yes, because she could not live with her father. He was smoking in the house, and she was very sensitive, and she just wanted to take good care of her health, and she just simply couldn't do it. So she moved back to Salt Spring. She wouldn't go live with her mother. Her mother was in an emotionally abusive relationship, and that would not have been a good place for Krista to go to either, because yes, he's could be quite a nasty person, the person that Krista's mother was with. So yeah, she moved in with her very good friend and his mother, and they were hippies in the hippiest sense, and they welcomed her right in, and she learned how to hug. Yeah, she really learned what it was to really have a heart hug, to really hug someone, to really just receive love through a hug. It was a really, really wonderful, sweet time, those 3 months and a bit that she knew she was pregnant. She really took, other than eating a lot of ice cream, which she has some regrets about, she really took care of her health, and she really loved being pregnant. And her and the young fellow that she was very in love with, they wanted to get married and all these things. All that fell apart in the end, but in the end, she had midwives. She had 2 midwives, and she had a home birth. Yeah, it was on a lake, and she had Lola in a big soaker tub. Yes, she was a little water baby, and Krista would not take any kind of gases or anything that sometimes women take to help numb out the pain. She would not do that to her child. She didn't want to do that, so she simply took very good care of herself, and she really loved the time where she knew she was pregnant, and it was really a beautiful experience for her. And yes, having a water birth in a nice soaker tub. Oh, it was wonderful for her to move back to Salt Spring. Yes, so and she did decide to keep Lola and to be her mother. She did. After all that, she's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Of course, she thought she was going to have a partner, but all that did fall apart. But that's another story. And we might not go into that. But yes, that was another traumatic experience, guess I see. Yes, Chris's mother, I think we will say she felt threatened by Chrislyn, the mother of Corey, and she would come into the house and have big fights, and it was simply not working. It simply wasn't working. Chris's mother didn't realize how to handle the situation, shall we say, and felt threatened that someone else was welcoming her in her home, and that it was simply a bit chaotic, and Krista at that point was still too young to really find her voice and speak up for herself. And so that didn't work with Corey, and Krista had to move out and back in with her mother and her mother's partner, and that was a very difficult time because Krista had postpartum depression. Yes, she lost the person she wanted to marry, and she simply did not know how to stand up for herself, and did not have good boundaries at the time, had very low confidence, and she was very depressed, but she wasn't familiar so much with what depression was. See, her life shifted so fast, and it was simply a very lonely time for her for a very long time. So we say that she struggled with her being a mother, and felt a great loss of freedom, and seeked love in codependent relationships. But there's great joy in her parenting with Lola, and there's so much love there, and she's done so much healing. But we want to extend our hearts out to any young single mothers out there that are struggling, or anyone who can relate to this story at all, or knows someone who might relate to this at all. That, it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy all the time. There's not much support. There's a little bit, but it can be lonely, especially if you're younger and you're having a baby. Yes, most of the mothers were in their 30s or even 40s on Salt Spring, and Krista was 18. There weren't any other mothers near that age at that time, and so there's lots of ups and downs, but we're saying she got through it. So we hope that you might not relate to this story at all, but overall, there are many challenges in life that you all go through, but you see, Krista loves Lola with all of her heart, and she is the greatest blessing in her life, and she knows it. Yes, even if she doesn't live with her right now, whenever she sees her, just gets to hold her and hug her and just share the joy and the love with her. Oh, it's the greatest feeling ever. Yes. And her daughter loves her unconditionally. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, so our hearts extend out to all the mothers who are struggling or have had difficult time, and even the fathers. Yes, our hearts go out to you, and we send our blessings and healing energies, and you'll just stay in your hearts, and you believe in yourselves and appreciate the love that is there for you. Yes, if Krista could step back in time, she wouldn't have wasted her time, so to speak, in codependent relationships. She would have just been like, okay, we're gonna do this, you and me, Lola, we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do the best I can. But Krista simply had many lessons to learn, and many lessons indeed, and she's come out the other side. So we're just saying, have faith and hold heart. If you are starting to lose faith a bit, know that it gets better. Yes, you must feel to heal any pain or trauma or grief. Yes, Krista cried many, 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 many tears over Lola. But now when she thinks of Lola, other than it's bringing up a lot to go digging into this, to share this story. It's bringing up some stuff in her. She's feeling it, definitely. But great compassion for her younger self, her younger naive self, one that was confused and one that was very lost and one that was simply doing the best she could. Simply just doing the best she could. It was not shown much love for many years there, so she had to learn to love herself, ultimately. Yes, now she can give that love to her daughter, but she had to learn to love herself. It took a little while, yeah. Okay, so yes, that's it. That's where it went today. Yes, you never know where it will go. You never know whose hearts it might touch. Yes, there's great healing in these messages, and we hope you receive the messages in your hearts, and you see that simply by looking at a person, you can never know their experiences or the struggles they've been through. So we're just saying to truly have compassion for every soul, because not all is as it seems, and if someone is being rude, you never know what they've been through or what's going on for them. We're just saying simply have some compassion. Yes, people are going through difficult times right now, and you can all be gentler and kinder to each other. Yes, be gentle and kind to each other. Yes. All right. With that, we're gonna close and thank you for tuning in, and that is all for now. Yes, and we will be speaking with you again very shortly. All right, dears. We are the Pleiadian High Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you all. Thank you for watching. Yeah. My heart goes out to everyone. Anyone who's really struggling right now. When I see people on the streets, or there's so much trauma. Yeah. And I'm feeling a lot. That was a lot to share. Yes, but I'm going to be seeing my daughter soon. It was a bit delayed with everything that's going on, 'cause she's from the lower mainland area and has to catch a ferry over here, and so I'll be seeing her really soon when she gets out of school, and I'm really happy because it's been a while and our last trip was canceled from all this, and I cried. I honestly, she called. I live on the same property as my mom, and she called my mom and she told her, and I was standing beside my mom, and I was just like, Lola got on the phone with me. I was like, I can't come, and I just burst into tears. It was just like automatic response, and I'm emotional sometimes. I'm not someone who can hide it, which is fine. It's fine with me. I'd rather be real than wear a mask, right? So yeah, and then I called Lola the next day, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I cried. I just processed it. I needed to get through it, but I don't want you to feel bad and I just want to apologize. I'm sorry. And she's like, oh yeah, I felt so bad. And I'm like, don't feel bad. I just really miss you, and I love you, and I'll see you soon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I'm going to find out tomorrow, closer to when I get to see her. She's 14 now. Lola is 14 years old. That's crazy. And I always get tears in my eyes. Ugh, even just talking about her. I just like love her so much. So glad she's in my life. Ugh, I'm getting emotional. Yeah, it's just crazy. She really wanted to be here and she made it. And I'm glad I didn't find out until that far along. You know, like she's the greatest. Oh, she's the greatest blessing in my life. And ooh, yeah, these are tears of love. And yeah. And you know, hindsight too, like with the choice I made at the time with having the abortion, you know, it's crazy. That's such a big choice to make. But yeah, like I might have made a different choice, like if I could go back, but I can't. That's okay. But who knows? Life would have been very different. I know that I wouldn't have changed anything with Lola. I'm so glad she came into the earth. So I just think that people can be more kind towards if there's any like harsh thoughts or judgments towards any woman who decide to go through with that. Again, I think we can be all more kind and compassionate to one another. And the important thing is in my life, and I think for people in their lives, is what was important for me was to make peace with my life and to make peace with where I am and to make peace with the choices I made and just to make peace with it all my relations. And from there, from that place of peace, I can step forward. So living without regrets, and again, knowing that if I'm meant to do a dance with this consciousness or like have another baby, that maybe this consciousness will be the one coming through, or that I will connect more maybe in these realms. I can connect more. I just haven't quite gone there. It's a sensitive subject for me. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. This is a really long video. And yeah, my heart feels a bit heavy. So I will rest now and probably do some journaling, and I'll probably do more channeling at another point after I rest around that choice and the abortion and the consciousness, and connect more in with that energy, because I feel like I'm ready to, now that the subject's coming up. I would like to have perhaps more clarity and peace on that. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in. If you've listened this long, cool. All right. And yeah, if you feel like this will resonate with anyone, or know anyone that's struggling or anything like that, I am grateful for the subscriptions and for people who are joining me on this channel, this journey, and thank you for passing the messages along, and thank you for listening. I'm really tired, so I should go to sleep, and I'm rambling. Okay, good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye.